Alright, so hello video channel, my name is William. Okay, today I'm gonna talk about a bill about the bill called KOSA. Now, KOSA stands for Kids Online Safety Act, but it's really known as Kids. I guess we could call it it's Kids Orwell Online. So it's a Kids Orwellian Surveillance Act. Is probably we could call it anyway. Yeah, I think it's the best way to call it anyway. But now I know it's very similar to the UK's, which is only called Online Safety Act, which is known. You could also call it Orwellian Surveillance Act. You know, that's what I would call it anyway, because it's very Orwellian and it's surveillance, not safety. Now there's two versions of KOSA. So there's the Senate KOSA bill. I want to show you. I can't show you on my computer because it's not working here, but it's this one here. The Senate KOSA bill is S 1748. I'll show you from my phone because I can't get it to show you on my computer. That's why. And you can also read the text for it too. But this is the bill requires cover online platforms to show and social media, and includes social media platforms to have. Oh, yeah, it's covering online platforms and video games too. To have some kind of yeah. I think it's some kind of age verification. That's what it says right here. And this is not good. You can also read the text about it. And if you read the text, I'll show you from my phone anyway, because I can't show you on my computer. But here's the text here. Okay, so that's the Senate KOSA, but there's also the House KOSA bill too. Here's the House KOSA bill. Yeah. And you can read the full text of the bill. Yeah, right there, yeah. I decided to show you from my phone because I couldn't show you on the computer. My computer says attention required and stuff like that. So that's why I'm showing to you from my phone right now. Anyway. Now, as this we check online internship, tell your lawmakers, so tell your local lawmakers to oppose KOSA. You need to call it Kids Orwellian Surveillance Act. That's what we need to call it anyway. But this one here, KOSA won't make kids safe. Instead, it will put youth in danger by preventing them. Right here, is this right here? Just right here. Oh, no, you're here. So, I'm urging you to reject. Because it's a misguided bill of vulnerable young people at risk, even though there have been significant proposing changes to this bill. KOSA still fails to address through issues related to kids' safety online unless the duty of care language is removed to stop government censorship of content. KOSA remains harmful. Instead, it would endanger some of the most vulnerable people in our society. while undermining human rights and children's privacy. The bill would result in widespread internet censorship by incentivizing platforms to suppress content about LGBTQ resources, reproductive, healthcare, and other life-saving content that are marginalized communities. This power could be abused a number of ways and be provided as sensitive information resources. KOSA would also likely lead together surveillance of children online by requiring platforms to gather data to verify user identity, and there's a way to protect kids and all people online from congregous data, abuse and harmful content targeting, passing strong federal data privacy that prevents tech companies from collecting so much sensitive data about all of us in the first place, gives individuals the ability to sue companies and misuse their data. KOSA, although well-meaning, must not move forward. Please protect privacy and stop the spread of censorship online by opposing KOSA. That's what it says right here. And now, if you want to know more about it, it says right here, it harms kids and teens and life-saving LGBTQ resources and sex education. That's what it says. Where it says here, KOSA claims to make kids safer, but it's really dangerous censorship bill. It will give the government impersonation by control over the internet. This will push youth in danger, preventing them access data and preventing life-saving resources. Lawmakers concerned about online safety should reject KOSA and instead work to protect all internet users from abuse of tech companies by passing a federal data privacy law. Well, a data privacy law? Yes. Well, I do believe that, but I believe you should start in the states first. I'll start with California before I can do it in federal level. You know, the data privacy laws. That's why. Yeah, I do agree that we need our lawmakers to pass data privacy laws. You know, that's why. To protect our data from hackers. And these HPK and stuff, it's going to just make. It's just. Anyway, let's just read this. So KOSA won't make kids more safe. Instead, it will be used in data for preventing resources they need. Concerned about young people from harm in big tech, but enabling censorship that harms most marginalized kids is not the answer. Lawmakers are concerned about online safety should reject KOSA and instead work all internet users abuse the tech companies by passing federal data privacy law and measures do not threaten online communities that queer and trans youth depend on. Send a letter to lawmakers and tell them to reject KOSA. So why is KOSA a bad bill? Well, that's the. So KOSA has two methods: protect kids, but both of them are awful. First, KOSA allowed the government to misuse social media platforms to erase that could be deemed inappropriate for minors. The problem is there's no consensus to that it is appropriate for minors. All across the country, we are seeing how lawmakers are attacking young people's access to gender, affirming healthcare, sex education, and birth control and abortion. Online communities, resources that queer and trans youth depend on lifelines should object Wilm's most right-wing extremist powers should not give them the tool align marginalized communities. Well, I'm against abortion. I know it's murder, but we need to be free to talk about it. That's why. But we need to talk about it freely. That's why. And with this HKK and stuff, we're not able to talk about it freely. That's why. And yes, birth control does cause abortion too, but it's silent abortions. Anyway, I'll get into that in a different video anyway. So second, KOSA would wrap the online surveillance of all internet by expanding use of age verification and parental monitoring tools. Not only will these tools are nearly invasive, but these massive safety risks for young people could be trying to escape domestic violence and abuse. Dozens of LGBTQ plus and civil rights groups agree that KOSA is dangerous, and indicates the bill haven't addressed concerns, but indicates the bill has impact already, have censored content and resources. If you believe the free open internet, and send a message to the lawmakers right now and tell them to reject KOSA. Yeah, we don't want a slave and closed internet. That's what KOSA is now. Anyway, might have a new version of KOSA. What's the deal? A new version of KOSA it makes some good changes, but no ability of right-wing attorneys in general weaponize KOSA targeting content don't like eliminating unproblematic duty of care. However, because the bill does not content neutral, KOSA still invites the harms of civil rights advocates warn about. So as LGBTQ and productive rights groups have said in months, and from the problem that KOSA has its duty of care and cover content-specific aspects of content reputation systems. The new changes fail to address the personalized recognition of systems, excluding definition of the design feature covered of the duty of care of the new version. This means a new Federal Trade Commission, yet the FTC could still use KOSA to pressure platforms to automatically filter is important, but the controversial topics like LGBTQ issues and abortion could be claimed already converting such content causes of mental health outcomes and covered by duty of exciting the expression. Bans on inclusive books, abortion, and gender-affirming healthcare have been passed, exactly that kind of redneck states and recently. And we know the existing content filtering systems impact content and marginalized creators, eventually more, resulting in discrimination and censorship. That's why it's important to remember the augmented gradation includes, for example, showing that user post from a friend they follow, and since most platforms do not show how users post but create in some way. As long as KOSA's duty to care, along with neutral platforms, react some way that they did. By liberty oppose that sensitive thoughts by engaging aggressive faulting of the precision of the parent. In some cases, life-saving content. We have used extended trans, youth, and human rights, and must be collateral damage in fight to keep kids safe online. When we find we have to keep pressure of this legislation and amend to ensure it will protect all kids rather than endanger some that are most valuable. Right, I know. Yeah, here's the list of the organizations opposed to KOSA. Yeah, I don't see Conservative Ladies America in here, but I know Net Choice opposes it too. I don't see Net Choice in here, but let's read about the 18 million ones rising. So here, there's Access Now, Advocacy for Privacy Action in Government, Advocates for Youth, American Bookstores, Free Expression, American Civil Rights Union, and Black and People National, and then Center for Democracy Technology, colleague, Okay, Defense of I said Don't Delete Art, Medications of Census Action, Electronic Frontier Validation. Yeah, I've been reading about that. Equality Arizona, Equality Michigan, Equality New Mexico, Equality Texas. Yeah, I know, but the Texas has their App Store Accountability Act that needs to get repealed anyway. If your local representatives have a website, well, when the new legislative session comes, let them know you want to create a bill that will, repeal the Texas App Store Accountability Act and try to get the Texas lawmakers to listen to you if they can, and hopefully you can also vote for new ones. And hopefully you can also vote for new ones this November. I'm telling you, if you live in Texas anyway, and some other states they have the App Store, they have have an App Store Accountability Act, because I don't know all of them anyway. Or, that's why. I know singing with age is a station and device level, because because California's not alone with this anymore. That's why. Well, here now you got Equality Virginia, Fair Wisconsin, got Fair Company, Fight for the Future, right? Yeah, that's why. Free Speech Coalition, Freedom Work USA, and then Freedom Oklahoma. Freedom Press Foundation, okay, Front of Front, okay. Indivisible East Side, Indivisible Plus Washington, Internet Society, Carl's, Lexington Pride Center, LGBT Technology Partnership. Well, I'm against LGBTQ, but we need to be free to talk about it. I can't do that when we have age-fication stuff. I hate that, because I hate age-fication, that's why. But Massachusetts Transgender Political Coalition, alright, and then one against transgenderism, but we need to be free to talk about it. I can't do it in the middle of age-fication, though. That won't be good anyway. Middle Justice, Enlistment Online Sexual Gender Diversity, National Online and Consendership, one Iowa, okay, one Technology Institute, Organization of the Development, Organization Translation Works, Organization that Trans in Texas, Nebraska, University of Justice, Report Care, Story of Fourth, and the sixth social challenge of the upline, Zavars and Tech Freedom, is okay, and then. Can we read Transgender Education Network of Texas, Trans Ohio, University of Minnesota Dearborn, Student Nation, Urge. Okay, I think this one is Washington's People Privacy, Woodhull Privacy, okay, Woodhull Freedom Foundation, and Yale Privacy Lab. That's what I want to know to tell you anyway. Now, Omniform in California. I think in San Diego there's also a new measurement. If you live in San Diego, I think you need to vote no on measurement A. Here it says denial announces a campaign to defeat an honest measure A to repeal the county term limits. It says no on measurement A. Well, let's read about this, okay? DeMaio warns county politicians to outright lying about the public trick of voters with dimension on measure A. So Carlville State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio announced today that before California will have a waging the campaign to defeat Measure A, the dishonest measure attempts to trick voters to extend term limits on county politicians. In recent alleged cycles of reform, California has measured to a powerful source in Diego County campaigns with thousands of grassroots and volunteers. How popular voter guide millions of campaign voters expand. 60% of Diego voters already decided that the two-term supervisor enough, but the politicians do not accept this decision. Notes DeMaio. 8 years of 2 terms have county aboard. The supervisors a vision of that should want turnover and faces at least 8 years. DeMaio adds. County advisor Lawson Reamer proposed measure A. She faces a final term as a county supervisor. Apparently, Supervisor Tara Lawson Ramirez thinks that she needs to do more political office and raise your taxes and waste your money. No thanks, hard pressed. DeMaio equipped. Okay, Dow equipped. DeMaio urges the San Diego voters to vote no on Measure A if they want to hold politicians accountable. Although common sense term limits. That's what Measure A is. If you live in San Diego, please vote no on Measurement A. I live in the city of Ontario, so I can't. And yes, tell your lawmakers to oppose KOSA. And also these other bad education bills over here too. And yes, I'll talk about the Screen Act next video anyway, because I haven't talked about the Screen Act yet. But I'll get into it next video. But I'll talk about it next video anyway, because I want to talk about it next video anyway. Yes, it is true we need to vote for new lawmakers this November, and also vote for new ones in November 2028 as well. And you can also vote for new ones in November 2030 as well too. Well, and also November 2032, because you have to keep voting for new lawmakers until anyway. And yeah, well, and look. Right now I've been busy going to school right now, so yeah, if I want to be a lawmaker, I don't want to be one right now. I'll try to be, if you want me to, I'll be one later on in the future. But right now I'm busy with school right now. That's why I'm trying to get my GED done before I can do anything else. That's why. Yeah. But I'll get my GED. Just yeah, on my GED, I passed math and social studies and science, and right now I'm doing language arts on my GED right now, so that's why. Also known as being a Republican and stuff. And yes, I got excused from jury duty. And I'm in January, that's why. But I became a Republican in April, that's why. So that's why, yeah. Anything. I don't know that Steve Hilton will win this November. I don't know that. I know that Xavier Becerra is ahead, which is I don't get it, because I know it seems stupid for Democrat voters to keep voting blue, and the problem is that they keep doing that. It's going to keep losing. You'll have nothing left if you vote blue. This is why I'm voting red. I'm voting for Steve Hilton and Gloria Romero, and I put on YouTube. Look, I showed you right here. Let me pause this, and I'll show you right here. Post. Here's the voting ballot list right here. And, look, it's up to you who you want to vote for, but I would say it would be best for you to vote for this ticket. I mean, this Republican side, because you got right here, you got. Yeah, I know. Steve Hilton, Gloria Romero, Michael Gates, and also Herb Morgan. Yeah, this one does not have the Secretary of State. I have to go for Donald Wagner as Secretary of State. I'll show you a picture of him later. Because, that's why. And here's the ballot guide for California, see? And I talk about the libertarians are correct about it too, so. See, I talk about the yes, vote no on 40. We don't want billionaire tax. And yes, if you live in Texas, trying to get the App Store and tell your lawmakers, hopefully in the next legislative session you can try to create a bill that can repeal the Texas App Store Accountability Act. And time to vote no on KOSA and stuff, that's why. And yet, yes, and vote yes on Prop 39 for voter ID, that's why. You can watch my How to Go to Heaven video on Rumble or BitChute anyways, just let you know anyways. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about the Screen Act next video anyway, because I have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoy it. And say goodbye. hopefully, okay, adios, and Zaijian.